Well, I'll tell you what, the float bowls, or I mean the bowl looks good, but the floats, they don't appear to have any holes in them. Do not appear to have any fuel in it. This jet seems okay. I mean, overall, this is a pretty decent looking carb on the inside. Pretty clean. That jet looks very good. That is a 157. Run a rod or two through it here, but yeah, she's nice and clean in there. Shoot some of this squirt and stuff in there. There we go. Alright, we'll just leave that sit there. I'll tell you what, I really like this. I'm sure my brother's already talked about his a bunch, but this is a JIS, Japanese, there it is. It's a JIS number 2. It's really nice because it's JIS, meaning that this is not a number 2 Phillips, it's a JIS 2. So it fits a little better. And also this reverses. It's got this nice little impact area because this is a hand impact screwdriver. But the interesting thing is, see, if you watch, it actually springs. These mosquitoes are eating me up. Watch here. Push down and it turns. So it's nice because even if I'm not hitting it with a hammer or whatever, I could just push down real hard and it will turn on its own, and it really helps to loosen up screws. It really does. It's really nice, really handy, and being a JIS, it fits better than the Phillips number 2. And with that, you minimize the risk of having to do what I had to do with, where's that? With this guy, because it was stripped out. So not now. Now it's junk. It needs to be replaced. And like I said, this looks pretty clean in here. Oh, that one flinging and flanging. Got some junk on there, but inside looks pretty good. So we'll keep that one on standby. There's one in here that is supposed to replace that. I don't know how they compare. I mean, it looks about the same. It would probably work just fine. Just don't know about the actual jet hole. So comparing these, see the white table there. This one's definitely looking bigger to me. If that's the case, I don't want to use it. This fits in there pretty, a little bit snug, and this one, yeah, all kinds of room still. So much for a carb rebuild, huh? But I mean, if this jet is okay, I might need to replace the O-ring. But if the jet is okay, then I'll leave it. I don't care. I'll run some junk through it. So if you are going to do this, I mean, this is steel, this is brass, so you don't want to do it very much. Probably honestly better off to use this, which is a nylon bristle brush, or brass brush would be better. But I didn't use it too much there. It's just if you use it too much, you're gonna obviously you're gonna gouge it out. You're also going to maybe eat away more than what you want to. So keep that in mind. Let's make sure that this O-ring is going to fit. Yeah, that's going to be perfect. So I'll go ahead and pull this one off. So much for that idea, huh? There we go. Oh, that is, wow, it's so stinking brittle. This was nice and pliable. There we go. Yeah, boy. There we go. Put that back in there. We're not going to use that. Mosquitoes, leave me alone. I'll go ahead and put this together. And we will just use this. There we are. So I don't want those washers to fall off, washer or O-ring or spring. I don't want to get stuck down in there sideways or something. So I just do it upside down. So who here remembers, raise your hands, who here remembers how many turns it takes once I put it all the way in there? What's that? That's right, 6 1/4. So here's 1/2. 1, 1 1/2, 2, 2 1/2, 3, 3 1/2, 4, 4 1/2, 5, 5 1/2, 6 1/4. There it is. Okay, now I may need to make an adjustment on that once I get it in and hooked up. And I got a book coming, not here yet obviously, but when it comes then I'll know a little more about it, because I'm not extremely familiar with the Polaris Sportsman 500, but that is what I'm working on. It's a 99, and found that according to the VIN, it's got an X, so that's what it means, 99. An X on the VIN where it needs to be. I think it's the 10th digit. Alright, so we got this back together. Now let's compare these two. They're nearly identical. That rubber nose, rubber cone tip, whatever, is worn a little bit, so I'm going to use this new one and get my float bowl, or my float. Guess I could clean this up a little bit, huh? So I opted not to spray the carbon choke cleaner on here because I don't want it to melt. And as you can see, some stuff does melt. That's another nice thing about this. Magnetic. And it came with a couple of bits, so it's just really nice. Encourage you to get one. They're not too much. Just a little handheld impact screwdriver, JIS, for working on this Japanese stuff. And then some people would be like, well, I don't need to get that. I got a number 2 Phillips. All right, well, that's kind of like saying I don't need to get a 10 millimeter wrench because I have a 3/8 SAE. Well, a lot of time you can make a 3/8 SAE work. Sometimes you can't. And you run the risk of stripping it if you use a 3/8 when it's calling for a 10 millimeter. It's the same thing. Using a Phillips number 2 rather than a JIS number 2, you run a lot bigger risk of stripping it. See, I had to go get tools to pull this guy off, which is now somewhere in the garage because it fell, hit the toe of my shoe, and disappeared. Don't need it, don't care. But I do have, where'd I put him? I don't even know. Yeah, right here in front of me. So I do have these guys, spiral screw extractors, and I tried to use that, but it wasn't really working the way I wanted it to. Wasn't very good. So I literally just ran up to Ace and picked up a set, and it's got everything you need on the one thing there. It's just handy. So again, just get the right tool to do the job. Too often you say, we can make it work. If it's something you have to do, if you have to make it work because you don't have the money, like there's no way you could get it for a very long time or something like that, makes sense. Enough of my spiel or rant or wordiness. So what's interesting is my ankle is still a little bit messed up. I sprained it pretty bad when I was racing. I landed off a jump, I don't know, kind of landed wrong, kind of hyperextended my Achilles, and in the process I sprained my ankle pretty bad. And it's honestly the first sprained ankle I've ever had, which is surprising after all the BMX I've ridden and four-wheelers and motorcycles. But then I get off my crutches, turn around, boom, my brother Bart, his calf gets hurt. And just today, so that was like, what is today? Yeah, that was a few days ago. But just today, I was out here working on this. My neighbor lady, she starts talking to me, and she's like, "No crutches?" I said, "No, we're good now." Well, I was like, "Not good. I can't run. I can't jog really, but I can walk pretty good now. I'm getting around a lot easier, a lot less pain. But like I say, it's still, I can't run. I can't jog." So a little longer on it to get straightened out. Anyway, she says, "Yeah, I could kind of relate." And I look, she's got a boot on her foot. What in the world? What now? You know, I feel like I'm the bad influence. Bart was supposed to go for an MRI today, so don't know how that turned out, but that was for his ankle. You know, I trust everything's working out okay with it, and the doctors are figuring out what to do. I hope he doesn't need surgery. I hope it's just, wow, just like my ankle, only maybe a little worse. Take a little bit longer to heal. But the end of this month, beginning of next month, either Labor Day, whatever, oh, wow, we're planning to go to Mayo, Michigan. I might try to show you some clips of that soon from last year, but maybe I'll do another short video on that. Anyway, this is a pain to get it down in there. It's a tight fit. I don't want to mess the jet up. I don't know if that's down low enough yet where I can start this. Need to clean this up a little bit. So what I like to do with these, because it's always a pain trying to get that down in there, but if you can get this started, there's actually a groove that it sits on right here. So if I can get set on that groove, I can pull it, yeah, just like that. Now if I can get my screw started, which I should be able to, it should be long enough. Oh yeah. Then I can pull it down with the screws and compress it in there until it pops. Okay, there's one started. Now this one is a little bit short, so we just have to add some pressure since that other one started. And we could get it started. Then we could work back and forth here. And that ought to do just what we need it to. But you do want to be careful it's not bending. And that seems to be what this is doing. Not necessarily bending, but it's flexing a little bit. So I'll try to push it now with the extra pressure that's on it from the. I'll hold it down on this side and then just pull. There it is. See that? There it is. Yeah, it did bend it. I might have to take it back off to straighten it out. It might straighten out just from tightening it down. Now I'm going to take it back off and inspect it. So it's getting dark on me again. Probably wrap it up after getting this back together and try to get some of this uploaded for you guys. Yeah, I don't know if you can see that, but there's just ever so slight bow to it. Oh, and with this being brass, that bends really easy just by hand, so. All right. Here we are. Tell you what, these mosquitoes are not very welcome. All right. Put our main jet back in here. Now, time for the float. Put that little guy on, let it dangle right down in there. Other side, there you go. There it is. All right, let's change out this. I guess it's just a rubber gasket. It's not really an O-ring. It's the same idea as an O-ring, but it's not shaped like an O or a ring. All right. Yeah. But I should probably press it into this. There we go. Now remember, I only got 3 out of the 4 of these screws to put this back together. And really, these heads are not the best, so I may invest in some new ones. I mean, that's most likely what will happen. Just the ideal, smart thing to do. Just snug them down. Well, as clean as this was, I just put it back together, but I usually spray through all my jets and make sure everything's nice and clean and works as it should. Okay. I believe that the diaphragm is good, considering it it's got good action there. Now that's interesting. One of these is Phillips or JIS number 2. Oh. There it is. The other 3 are like Allen heads, so interesting. Well, overall this looks pretty good. It's a little bit gummed up, but there's no holes in it. So I'm going to scrape some of this junk out of here. And then I'll put the cover back on, and I will call this good. So let's see here. This is what I'm doing. Scrape it down here. I'm going to scrape this junk out. See there. Just a little bit, because it dries up and then it don't matter.